everybody, it's the Cursing Seamstress. Am I too low? I hope not. Alright, I'm gonna move this up a little bit. Okay, I hope that's a little bit better. I wanted to talk to you today about, first of all, I want to remind you that I am going to have a contest upcoming soon for some patterns. And I did one a week ago, and I really did not have a good response. So I'm going to try it again. If I don't get a response next time, I just won't do any more contests. So, but anyway, I have made a lovely dress, and I'm wearing it now. I've never made a Maria Denmark pattern. I've heard about her. I don't know what her real name is. I'll find out more and put it into this video. But there was a pattern. I don't even know how I got linked to it. I don't know how. But anyway, so I just happened to be on the website browsing and saw this dress pattern called the Maria, spelled in the usual way, and thought it was really pretty. So I bought it. They may have been having a sale. That might have been it. I may have gotten an email about a sale because it seems like everybody was having a sale for Mother's Day, I guess, or spring or something. So I fell in love with it and I bought it. I don't remember what it was, but I think it was somewhere around $12, which is very reasonable. And excuse me, it's for knits, and it is, I think, the same bodice, but 3 variations for the bottom. And that is a pencil skirt, a flared skirt, and then something called a bell skirt. I made the bell skirt. I think that there may have been an option for a high neckline too, but I don't like high necklines. I like a scoop neck or a boat neck most of the time. So I was putting it together and just happened to glance up at the first page, and the first page said, this is after I had gotten a bunch of it put together, the first page said, seam allowance not included, or something like that. Well, I have never made a pattern without a seam allowance in it. So I kind of freaked out a little bit. I thought, how am I going to know where to put the seam allowance and where not to put a seam allowance? So I panicked a little bit. I continued to put it together, and then I went online and started looking up about how to add a seam allowance to a pattern, and found several things, but one really good description that helped me through it and told me basically how to do it. And then I went back, which I should have done in the beginning, and looked closer at the Maria Denmark pattern. Hold on 1 minute. Back to the Maria Denmark pattern and read on there, and it told me what the seam allowance was and to add a seam allowance everywhere except the neckline. So that was really helpful. Anyway, I think I actually had cut the pattern out, so I couldn't add the seam allowance to the pattern. But in the description for the pattern, it said that you could either add the seam allowance to the paper pattern and then cut it out, or you could add it once you had it laid out on the fabric, which is of course what I had to do. And it really wasn't that bad. I wouldn't purposely pick a pattern without a seam allowance, but it really is doable. This dress took me a while because I wasn't sure of the fit and the whole add a seam allowance thing. So it took me a long time because I would run a long stitch when I was sewing pieces together and then try it on and see what it looked like. And then I ended up actually sewing on a 1/4 inch But then when I went to serge it, I sewed just on the edge of the serger. And then I pulled out the long stitches. So this actually fits me a little looser than what the size range was for me and my body. So, but this is going to be a favorite pattern, and I think what I'm going to do is go back to the paper pattern and go ahead and add that seam allowance where I'm supposed to have it. And that way I think it'll be easier to make it again. But I just use my acrylic ruler. And that's a reason I have thought that Burda makes some beautiful patterns, some really quirky and unusual patterns, and I've really liked a lot of their patterns, but I've never bought one because my understanding is that most of them do not have the seam allowance built in. So I've kind of steered away from those. So let me tell you a little bit more about this pattern. I love the shape of the neckline. It's round, but there's almost not quite a point right here. I like that. There are no darts in here. This is, it's a little bit higher than the waistline here for the bodice. The bell skirt it's a little weird because it comes down first and then it goes out, but it doesn't come in very much. And then it goes out. The next time I make this, I'm going to make the pencil skirt bottom. This fabric is lovely. It's stretch cotton, and this is Walmart fabric that was rolled up. I think it was the 3 yards for $8 maybe, and it just behaved beautifully. It's opaque and has some body to it. There's a seam down the middle of the front, and is there a seam down the back? Yeah, there's a seam down the back of the bodice. There's a seam down the back of the skirt also. I did not lengthen anything at all. I didn't change anything that I can think of. There was an option for a cuff on the sleeves. The sleeves were either shorter than this or long, I think. And so I cut them a little bit midway, I guess, above the elbow, because you don't want it right in the bend of the elbow. So they're nice length. And I really can't think of anything. Everything else just worked really well, except for the worrying about whether or not it was going to fit or not. So I'm going to stand up and give you a turnaround and let you see. I do recommend it, and so again, don't be like me. Don't be afraid to do a pattern by Maria Denmark, because it is pretty clear about the seam allowance. And actually the sizing guidelines were fine too. This does fit me very well, I think. So let me stand up and let you take a look. All right, so this is what it looks like. So the bell part, I think it comes down to like right here. So it's straight, and then I think it bells out right about here. You really can't tell it. It's got a little bit of fullness, but this is drapey, so I think it's a nice look. This is what the back looks like, and the side, and the front. So that's it. I'm wearing this today. It's Mother's Day. My daughter is going to church with me, which is wonderful, with the Grand Boys, and we're going to go out to our favorite Italian restaurant and eat. I'll probably end up getting spaghetti sauce on this. I hope not. All right. Thank you very much for watching. I appreciate it, and I will see you later. Happy Mother's Day to all you mothers out there.